Everyone in the world has a cyst growing on top of their head. It started when I was 10 years old. The first cyst I saw was my mother's. At first, I thought it was because my father passed away, which was a huge blow to us, causing me to hallucinate. But after that, I noticed my mom started getting angry for no reason. As she got angry, the cyst on her head grew larger and larger. Later, I learned that once the cyst grows to a certain extent, it explodes. The person's head explodes along with it. That is how my mother passed away. I later found out that this is a disease, an emotional disease. Anyone infected with the emotional disease will grow a cyst on their head. As emotions continue to increase, the cyst grows bigger and bigger until it explodes. And today, I will witness the explosion of cyst with my own eyes. At the company party, Mr. Zhang was cursing emotionally. Why isn't this wine chilled? And this watermelon has seeds in it. You can't even organize a simple party properly? Why don't you just die? The assistant in charge of the party retorted angrily, "Eat it or leave it. If you're so picky, why don't you die?" Seeing this, others started arguing too. "Are you guys annoying or what? Arguing at a party? Are you sick?" I hurriedly stepped forward to persuade everyone. "Calm down, everyone. Mr. Zhang, I'll change the wine and watermelon for you. Jingjing, I apologize to you on Mr. Zhang's behalf. Everyone else, please calm down." But Mr. Zhang smashed a wine bottle over my head. The whole room instantly went quiet. Mr. Zhang, who was originally in a fit of rage, calmed down the next second. He suddenly hugged me and cried, "Oh my God, what have I done? Xiaocheng, are you okay?" "I'm sorry." I quickly comforted him. It's okay. As long as you guys calm down. It's a rare department gathering. Everyone should have fun." Not long after, I stood alone to the side wiping my shoes. A female colleague came up behind me. "You let that slide? You can really endure it." I said helplessly, "I have no choice. I'm the only normal one in the department. Besides, can't you see it too? The reason they've become so emotional." Just then, Mr. Zhang started arguing with someone again, and the cyst on top of Mr. Zhang's head looked like it was about to explode. I prepared to go over and calm him down. The female colleague said, "I thought you didn't care if they lived or died." I replied, "I really don't care much, but if someone dies, it will be very troublesome." As soon as I finished speaking, Mr. Zhang's head exploded. We were both stunned. However, Mr. Zhang didn't die. The flames reassembled into his head. At this moment, he turned into a monster. I was confused. How is this possible? Shouldn't he have died instantly like my mom? And the man arguing with Mr. Zhang was torn to pieces by him in one move. The scene instantly plunged into panic. Mr. Zhang killed someone. He's crazy. Run. At this moment, the female colleague quickly pulled me to run away. She explained to me as we ran, after the cyst breaks, they don't die initially. Instead, they transform into an emotional monster. Most people are completely controlled by their own emotional monster. Furthermore, they can use the supernatural powers brought by the emotional monster to vent their emotions at will. If that's the case, why did my mom die? Just then, Mr. Zhang, who was still rampaging, suddenly had his head explode again, and then he fell to the ground with a thud. At this time, everyone stopped. "Hey, did you see that?" Mr. Zhang's head suddenly exploded. I asked them, "Can't you see anything?" She answered, "That's right. Ordinary people generally can't see it." Whether it's Mr. Zhang turning into an emotional monster or the emotional monster that ate Mr. Zhang's head, they can't see it. This is the cause of your mother's death. She transformed into an emotional monster just like Mr. Zhang, was controlled by her own emotional monster, and finally became food for another emotional monster. More accurately, she became food for those who can control their own emotional monsters. And the emotional monster is linked to its master. You can find him precisely through the emotional monster. That's right, it's this man. I was stunned. He was my childhood neighbor, Lu Jia. The female colleague said, "Your neighbor is a big shot now. His surface identity is the vice president of Langshao International. Secretly, he is an emotional entity who can control his own emotional monster. He deliberately spreads the virus of anger, causing you to lose control of your emotions and get infected with the emotional disease. After you transform into emotional monsters, he preys on you to gain power. From the very beginning, you stepped into his hunting ground. Also, according to my investigation, the first person he preyed on back then was your mother. Yes, your mother suddenly lost emotional control because he transmitted the anger virus to her. Your mother died because he controlled his own emotional monster. Not to eat her. Your broken family and death of loved ones are all because of him. After hearing this, my emotions remained stable. I asked her, so, only people who transform into emotional monsters are his targets, right? Because he wants to steal their power. The female colleague was stunned. That's right, but shouldn't you be angry? After speaking, I turned around to leave. The female colleague leaned in and questioned, "You're leaving just like that? Not taking revenge? He killed your mom." I answered calmly, "He has supernatural powers and kills without blinking. I'm not going to throw my life away. Besides, this is all just your side of the story. You really are calm. But what gave you the illusion that you aren't sick yourself?" I turned back. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you are the one who is sickest of all." A cyst so large it was indescribable appeared on my head. The female colleague continued, "Lu Jia's prey has been you from the very beginning. The person he hopes will transform the most is you. The one he wants to eat the most is also you." Just then, Lu Jia suddenly appeared behind me. "Lu Xiaoning, long time no see. You've grown so big." I denied it immediately. "Sorry, that you have the wrong person." Lu Jia laughed. "Haha, you're funny. Let's catch up properly. Although it's a bit presumptuous, I want to ask you a favor. Can you please get angry?" He kicked me in the stomach. This immediately attracted the attention of the people around. "That guy hit Xiao Chong. What's going on?" "Mr. Zhang, this guy was causing trouble here earlier. Damn it, beat him to death." The female colleague helped me up. "Are you okay?" Lu Jia looked at me. "TCH, you really don't get angry no matter how you're beaten. It seems you're the type who doesn't care about yourself. In that case," he snapped his fingers. Instantly, flames appeared on everyone's bodies. Then they all started burning. Lu Jia then said, "Will you be angry if I hurt your colleagues? Actually, they treat you quite well usually. Only 18 and working so early. Do you want me to introduce you to a girlfriend? I have a younger sister in college. Hey Xiao Chong, let's go out for lunch together." A moment later, all my colleagues were burned to ashes. What the hell? They're burned to ashes and you're still indifferent? Can you really endure this much? But you can't fool me. Your cyst has grown quite a bit. Lu Jia's mouth curled up slightly. "Norus, take it slow. I haven't even told you that I killed your mom yet. I'll see how long you can endure." But actually, I wasn't as calm as I appeared on the surface. Colleagues who frequently got sick, strangers picking fights. I wanted to explode at any moment. I even wanted to tear them apart. But I don't have the emotional disease. Everyone's irritability isn't necessarily intentional. Their annoyance and regret after rage always bring past scenes to my mind. That was my mother's apologetic, crying face after every time she got angry. Losing rationality and sinking into emotions, the only result is regret. So all along, I have constantly restrained myself with reason. Rationality, keep rational. It should have been like this. But now, is there any need for me to remain rational? Turning into a monster of anger and tearing him apart to avenge everyone, avenge mom. Wouldn't that be great? But why? Why? I'm already so angry, yet I still haven't transformed? If I transform, I'll be killed. If I don't transform, won't I be killed anyway? Might as well go crazy and risk it all. It might be hard for you to accept, but the current you can never transform. Why? Lu Jia looked at me. Actually talking to himself. Are you still trying to persuade yourself? Looks like I have to teach you a lesson. After speaking, he rushed towards me. Talking to myself? Talking to myself. I suddenly realized something. I turned my head to look. I saw the female colleague beside me start to shed her disguise. She revealed her true face. Finally figured it out? All right, I won't tease you anymore. Actually, from the very beginning, the only one who could see me was you. I was stunned on the spot. Who are you? At this moment, Lu Jia also blasted a palm strike over. When the dust settled, Lu Jia was shocked by the scene before him. The woman's voice rang out. As for why you can't transform right now, that because from the moment you saw me, you had already been infected by me and became an emotional monster. An emotional monster named Reason. An incomparably huge cyst growing on the head. This is a disease named emotional disease. People infected with different emotional diseases will grow different cysts on their heads. The more emotions, the bigger the cyst, until the cyst explodes, giving birth to a monster named emotion. And I always thought I wasn't sick, until this woman told me that from the moment I saw her, I had already been infected by her and became an emotional monster. An emotional monster named Reason. Lu Jia looked incredulous. Chain binding and a face like a black hole. What kind of emotional monster is this? Why have I never seen it before? I looked at the monster above my head, equally confused. Does reason count as an emotion too? And if I was infected and transformed long ago, why is it that only just now I could see my own emotional monster? More importantly, this woman I always thought was my colleague. Who exactly is this woman who infected me and made me transform? The woman seemed to see my confusion. I guess you have a lot of questions right now. Like, who am I? What am I going to do? But these can't be explained clearly in a short time. Right now, I can only tell you that the emotion of reason is the most special emotion, because reason can suppress all other emotions. Of course, that includes Lu Jia's emotion of anger. Also, you must be curious why you couldn't see your own emotional monster before. This is actually a very simple principle. In this world, you can only see what you know. Meanwhile, Lu Jia was also observing me. He saw that the emotional monster was far away from me and judged that I hadn't become a slave to the emotional monster, but had become an emotional entity capable of controlling it, just like him. He gritted his teeth. Then he attacked brazenly. Don't think a newly transformed emotional monster is a match for me. He released his emotional monster, anger. Anger pounced directly towards my reason. Surprisingly, anger actually passed right through reason's body. Lu Jia frowned tightly. Missed? I asked, what's the situation? The woman explained, you can't control your emotional monster yet. So, it hasn't truly started to interfere with this world. Your emotional monster is more like a projection right now. It isn't really here. Lu Jia also realized this and grinned. I know, this kid can't really control his emotional monster. His emotional monster is still staying in the astral plane. Subsequently, he immediately controlled the emotional monster to attack my main body. Watching the giant mouth biting towards me, I had no reaction until my entire head was swallowed by anger. Seeing this, Lu Jia first grinned, then showed an expression as if he'd seen a ghost. Because at this moment, my head was stuck on anger's teeth. Lu Jia's eyes widened in fear. Biting. Can't bite through? How is this possible? The woman explained with a smile, you often suppress your anger. Therefore, your reason possesses extremely high resistance to anger. An attack of this level is probably no different from scratch to you. Lu Jia raged impotently. Bastard, don't get cocky. Then he controlled anger to fly around wildly. I asked from within anger's mouth, what do I do now? Although his power can't hurt me, I can't control my own emotional monster, so I can only take the beating. The woman answered, it's simple. Let your emotional monster lend its power to you. Now that you know you can borrow power from the emotional monster, you can borrow it. The next second, a burst of energy suddenly erupted from within anger's mouth. Then the entire anger monster exploded. Lu Jia was also blown away by the shockwave. He looked incredulous. A moment later, my figure appeared in the smoke, and two of my fingers had changed. Lu Jia gritted his teeth. I get it. He borrowed power from his emotional monster. But with just 2 fingers, he destroyed my emotional monster? How is that possible? How can a newly transformed emotional entity be so strong? Without saying another word, he turned and ran. I have to run, or I'll die. I crushed the floor with one stomp. I chased after him at a faster speed. Seeing me chasing, Lu Jia showed a terrified expression. Then he fled, and I chased, fighting all the way. I was confused. Wasn't his emotional monster dealt with by me? Why can he still use the power of fire? The woman explained, emotional monsters don't die that easily. His emotional monster just temporarily ceased to exist in this world. Just then, a door appeared ahead. We both rushed out together. It turned out we had been on a ship all along. This was a world-class cruise ship, the Marine Emperor. And the location where this cruise ship was currently sailing was the Mirror Sea of EC City. At this moment, the woman reminded me, by the way, there's something I have to tell you. On this cruise ship, chasing an emotional entity is a very dangerous act, because this is a ship controlled by emotional entities. Emotional entities conduct transactions on this ship. At the same time, the ship also has various services to meet the needs of emotional entities. Hunting ordinary people is one of those services. So attacking an emotional entity on such a ship is challenging the bottom line of the owner of the Marine Emperor. Not to mention Lu Jia is a super VIP of this ship. I asked the question, are the security forces on this ship strong? The woman used a metaphor. They could crush you with a pinky finger. I fell silent for a few seconds. So if I don't kill him now, I'll never get another chance. As soon as the words fell, I increased my chasing speed again. The Prime Minister's daughter was made into a piece of art. The production process was extremely cruel. Killed when she was most sorrowful to freeze her expression. Then her skin was peeled back to reveal the white bones inside. Finally, waxing it turned it into such an artwork. And the creator is the man before us. He is Victor Lin of the Wilderness International Consortium. Everything he did was to give this gift to the captain of the Marine Emperor, Liu Yang. A woman wearing a white hat spoke. I heard before that the prime minister wasn't willing to cooperate. I didn't expect you guys to use this method to punish him. Quite imaginative. She is Anna Chris of the Ugly Duckling Self-Help Society. Another woman followed up. I have to say, truly tasteful. Being turned into such an artwork is an honor for that young girl. She is the second miss of the Song family of Great Xia, Song Huihui. A middle-aged man spoke closely after. I'm curious. You guys turned your sights to Great Xia so quickly? He is Victor, the young master of the East Sea City Bishop of the cult Black Love. He said politely, the group is like a boat sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you retreat. After all, competition is fierce now. We'll have to trouble everyone to cooperate on Great Xia's matters. Just then, a man wearing glasses came behind the captain. Reporting, my lord. Liu Jia has already killed the art director of Tianji Group, but a small accident occurred. He suddenly got excited and wanted to carry out the next hunt. But that prey successfully transformed and is currently beating up Liu Jia. Song Huihui waved her hand upon hearing this. What a piece of trash. If not for the fact that he has followed that adult for so long. With his level, how would he be qualified to hunt at will on this ship? Victor asked, I've always been curious. Who exactly is that adult you guys speak of? Song Huihui warned, for the sake of smooth cooperation, it's better for us to pry less. Captain Liu Yang ordered, able to beat up Liu Jia right after transforming? That talent is impressive. How about this? Don't let Liu Jia get beaten to death. Although he's just a pawn who knows nothing, we still have to give face to that adult. Also, seal off the scene. Don't let other emotional entities near. It doesn't matter about ordinary people. They will flee naturally. As for the emotional entity beating Liu Jia, he probably has no background. Just kill him. And the person they were talking about was me. I punched Liu Jia in the face. Liu Jia fell backwards onto the ground. I grabbed him by the throat, about to finish him. Liu Jia threatened, Are you crazy? You want to kill me here? I replied with 2 words, That's right. Liu Jia hurriedly begged for mercy. Wait, I was wrong. Spare my life, and I'll agree to anything. Just as my sharp blade was about to pierce him, Liu Jia roared frantically, Your mom. I know who killed your mom. Kill me, and you'll never know who killed your mom. I stopped my hand. The sharp edge was only 1 centimeter from his eye. The next second, I stabbed directly into his shoulder. A scream rang through the cabin. Then I looked at him and asked, Wasn't it you who killed my mom? Liu Jia quickly denied, No, it's not like that. At that time, there was an emotional entity in the old street where you live. He was secretly spreading his emotional virus in the dark, then hunting newborn emotional monsters. I was infected by him and turned into an emotional monster. But he didn't kill me. Instead, he helped me stabilize my state and made me his subordinate. It was him. He forced me to do everything. He made me help him spread it, turning ordinary people into monsters. He forced me to kill them, and he stole the emotional power of those people to strengthen himself. I asked, Who is he? Where is he now? Liu Jia let out a wild laugh. Who is he? Ha ha! He's a high and mighty big shot now. If he knows you killed me, you will die too. He is. Just as the name was about to be spoken, he stopped. Then he said in terror, No, I can't say it. If I say it, that adult won't let me off. I was silent for a moment. Then I held nothing back. Then just die. I command your heart to stop beating. A voice suddenly rang out. The next second, after 2 thumps, my heart actually stopped beating. Then I fell to the ground. Next, the glasses man bowed to Liu Jia. My lord, sorry I'm late. Liu Jia got up. You know me? The glasses man answered respectfully. The Marine Emperor will do its best to serve you. Liu Jia instantly became smug. He stepped on my head. Weren't you very awesome? Still trying to kill me? Come on, kill me. Just then, I lifted my head. Liu Jia was so scared he immediately hid behind the glasses man. The man with glasses was surprised. You actually didn't die? I hit pretty hard too. What happened just now? At this time, the woman of reason explained to me, it's the emotional power of the arrogance emotional entity. He directly issued a command to your heart, making your heart stop beating. That exaggerated? Isn't that invincible? The woman continued to explain, his emotional entity level is 2 major ranks higher than yours. Naturally, you cannot defy his commands. If you weren't a reason emotional entity, having resistance to all emotions, you would already be dead. And he is an opponent you absolutely cannot defeat right now. This is a world dominated by emotions. Whatever emotion a person possesses, they can give birth to that kind of emotional monster. And the emotion I possess is named reason. Reason can suppress all other emotions. It is the most special emotion. But I was suppressed by a man with glasses. He just said one sentence: "I command your heart to stop beating." The next second, my heart stopped beating. Then I fell beside my enemy. After a moment of relief, I stood up again. It turns out the emotion controlled by the man with glasses is arrogance. He can issue commands directly to people. The woman who infected me with the reason emotion told me that if I weren't a reason emotional entity with resistance to all emotions, I would be dead now. Moreover, the glasses man's emotional entity level is 2 major ranks higher than mine, so I am even less able to defy his commands. He is an enemy I have absolutely no possibility of defeating right now. However, what puzzled me was why I couldn't see his emotional monster. The woman told me that his emotional monster should be staying deep in the astral plane right now. The astral plane can be understood as the place where emotional monsters primarily live. When an emotional monster is at the junction of the astral plane and reality, it can be seen. But once the emotional monster hides deep in the astral plane, it is difficult to observe. At this time, Lu Jia ordered, "You help me hold this kid down. I'm going to teach him a good lesson." The man with glasses responded yes, and immediately spoke, "I command you to kneel." The next second, my body knelt down uncontrollably. I was shocked. I can't resist at all. The woman of reason explained, "This is the characteristic of the arrogance emotional entity's commands. The less harm the command does to you, the harder it is to defy. The greater the level gap between the arrogance emotional entity and you, the harder it is to defy." At this time, Lu Jia walked over. Then he slapped me hard across the face. He looked like a villain who had succeeded. "Weren't you very powerful? How come you can't even stand up now? Your mom was just a commoner. We emotional entities can treat her however we want. In return for your actions just now, let me tell you about the day your mother transformed and how she died. I remember it very clearly. The day your mother transformed was a rare day. She was lucid and not controlled by emotions. She bought groceries and cooked, wanting to apologize for losing her temper at you recently. She specially made your favorite dish, tomato stewed brisket. What a pity. In the end, blood splattered everywhere, even on the ceiling. The brisket was burnt too, and your mother was targeted only because of a casual remark from that adult. I want to pray. Just choose that single mother next door to you. At first, I strongly opposed it. After all, your mom was a good person. When I was poor, your mom even helped me and brought me food. But later, as your mom started losing her temper, watching you fall from happiness into the abyss, I slowly grew to like this feeling. Lu Jia laughed maniacally and morbidly. Ha ha ha. That feeling of dominating someone else's life and depriving them of happiness. If I want her to turn into an emotional monster, she has to turn into an emotional monster. If I want her to become food, she has to become food. When he reached this point, I had already stood up. Just as I was about to kill this scum, the man with glasses spoke again. "I command you to stop moving." The next second, my body stopped moving. The man with glasses said again, "I command you to kneel and kowtow." The next second, my body uncontrollably slammed my head onto the ground. My head was pressed tightly against the floor, unable to lift up no matter what. Then Lu Jia looked at me and said, "I'll give you a chance. Swear to become my dog and bark twice. I'll spare your dog life." My head remained against the ground. I didn't answer, nor did I have any emotional fluctuation. And at this time, they still didn't see that there was a woman beside me. She asked beside me, "What do you plan to do next?" But I asked back, "Shouldn't I be asking you that? You made me an emotional monster, and you know so much about me. You even understand Lu Jia and the background of this ship. You anticipated the current situation long ago, right? Name your conditions. I accept them all." At this time, Lu Jia impatiently stepped on my head. "Bark, bark, and I'll spare your life." At this, the corners of the reason woman's mouth curved into a beautiful arc. Then she hugged my entire person. "You just have to be willing to accept my power." The next second, a terrifying energy erupted from within my body. But this energy was just too massive. Mutations instantly appeared around my eyes. Lu Jia panicked. "What is this?" The man with glasses answered solemnly, "Loss of control." Meanwhile, my consciousness fell into a space. It was incredibly empty here, like the boundless universe. I muttered to myself, "Where is this? I can't feel any emotions," as if everything is only calculation. Just then, memory fragments kept flooding into my mind. Playing games with mom, drawing with mom, shopping and going home with mom, and the scene of father passing away. After that, Mother's inexplicable anger and rage, and her apology and regret towards me after getting angry. Until the end, she was killed by the anger emotion. Finally, it was Lu Jia's hateful face. The next second, my lenses shattered. My pupils also turned gold. I looked at my own hands, not knowing what happened just now. At this time, the woman of reason spoke. Very good. The cyst you had before stored enough anger. This allowed you to maintain yourself within my power. Remember, at the critical moment, you must abandon reason. Only in this way can you master the power of reason. Otherwise, you will lose control and become a reason emotional monster. Now, enjoy your revenge. The next second, the crystals around my eyes shattered one after another. The originally surging emotional power also disappeared suddenly at this moment. Seeing this, Lu Jia mocked. Haha, what the hell? Suddenly, the emotional power disappeared. I thought you were so powerful. But the man with glasses did not relax his vigilance. He was terrified. No, it's not that the emotional power disappeared. It's that the level of his emotional power, we can no longer perceive it. At this moment, my reason monster had already covered the entire sky. That world-class cruise ship capable of holding 10,000 people looked like a small boat in the face of reason. Meanwhile, in the bar on the cruise ship, a man suddenly fell to the ground. He looked at the sky in terror. What kind of power is this? In the ship's restaurant, a man accidentally cut through both his steak and the plate. He showed fear on his face. It's a world-class emotional entity. For such a big shot to unleash their power here. Do they want to declare war on the entire consortium behind the Marine Emperor? At this time, Captain Liu Yang and everyone in the VIP room also sensed it. Anna said, it's actually a world-class power. Victor also spoke up, strange. Is there another world-class on your ship today? Are they coming for us? Song Wee Wee had a serious expression. Could it be the helper of the person beating Lu Jia? Maybe they are coming for that adult. Captain Liu Yang looked out the window. Everyone, no need to worry. No matter who comes or what conspiracy they have, as long as they dare to offend our Marine Emperor, even a world-class will die. The scene shifted back. Lu Jia couldn't believe it. What are you saying? We can't perceive his level anymore? How is that possible? At this point, the glasses man's teeth were chattering with fear. I also think it's impossible, but this is the truth. For you, it's imperceptible, but I can faintly see it. That is at the highest place. A pressure like a disaster. A pressure like those big shots. A pressure belonging to the world class. The man with glasses screamed, "Run!" But it was too late. I instantly arrived behind them, and my two hands were holding a head each. Then, like throwing trash, I threw the two heads on the ground. Surprisingly easy. The woman of reason looked at me, ripping their heads off right from the start. Don't you think that's not good? Indeed, it wasn't done well enough. I should have killed him slowly. The woman of reason smiled. Very good. You have to be this extreme to control my reason. But don't rush. The good show is just starting now. The next second, golden veins appeared under my feet. The veins continued to extend forward until they covered the entire hull. I looked up. A golden giant sitting on a throne appeared. I stared blankly at this scene. At this time, the woman of reason said, "Don't you find it strange? You and Lu Jia fought on this ship, but the ship wasn't damaged in the slightest, because this ship is also an emotional entity. This is the true face of this ship. In a world of emotional power, the scope of your vision depends on your strength. And it is only by borrowing my power that you can barely glimpse the true form of the world. This is the true power aboard the Marine Emperor." Captain Liu Yang floated beside the golden giant. He looked down from high above. "You are that reckless world class, aren't you? Then die." He began to chant a spell. "Within the universe, between heaven and earth, any offense shall be punished. All things submit, he my mediation. Any transgression shall be paid in blood." I was puzzled. His emotional monster was chanting simultaneously with him. Could he increase the power of his commands through unison chanting? "Relay my imperial order. Space freeze around the intruder." In a second, my emotional entity and I were frozen by a giant golden cube. I used the golden sword to break the star. "Relay my imperial order." Within the frozen space, all emotional power is halved. Countless golden swords pierced into the golden cube, turning it into a pincushion. Liu Yang snorted coldly. overestimating yourself. Enna said, "Humph, the winner is decided so soon?" This world class has very shallow experience. He actually allowed the opponent to successfully complete a long command. "Captain, now you just need to keep issuing orders." Capturing him alive is only a matter of time. Just then, a crack suddenly appeared on the golden cube. The two looked over in astonishment. Captain Liu Yong also had a look of disbelief. The next second, my reason emotional entity swung its sword, shattering the frozen space. My eyes were cold. I raised my hand upward, and the reason emotional entity also raised the sword in its hand. I slashed my hand downward. The reason emotional entity thrust its four swords toward the Marine Emperor. The captain looked shocked. In the next second, the entire ship's protective shield was shattered by this strike. The Marine Emperor versus Reason Emotion. In this great battle, who will be the final winner? Captain Liu Yong chanted a long command, freezing me and the reason emotional entity, got inside a golden cube and pierced it with countless golden swords. But he never expected that the reason emotional entity would slash it open with a wave of its sword. And I held back no longer. I raised my hand upward. The reason emotional entity followed, raising the sword in its hand. I slashed my hand downward. The reason emotional entity thrust its sword downward. Instantly, terrifying energy erupted on the sea surface. Captain Liu Yong looked disbelieving as the aftershocks of the energy dissipated. A large gap appeared in the Marine Emperor's protective shield. Liu Yang's pupils constricted slightly. He broke the confinement in that state? How can such an emotional monster exist? What exactly does a person like this want on my ship? Or rather, what does he want to do to the consortium behind me? After a moment of silence, Liu Yong waved his hand. It doesn't matter what he wants. My method has always been interviewees die. As his words fell, many golden soldiers appeared around me. The reason emotional entity was attacked by giant golden soldiers. But how could a few miscellaneous soldiers be a match for reason? They were easily cut down. Just as I tried to dodge, Liu Yong said, "Stop." My body actually froze in midair. The next second, the golden soldiers thrust their spears at me. But the spear tips couldn't harm me in the slightest, because reason has resistance to all emotions. The next second, I waved my hand, instantly slicing the surrounding soldiers in half at the waist. But even more soldiers appeared behind me. Liu Yong shouted, "Stop" again. But just then, a giant sword had already turned toward him. Liu Yang's pupils shrank. At the limit, he barely dodged the blow, and I took the opportunity to charge him. Liu Yong didn't expect that I would dare to confront him head-on. At this moment, 2 of my fingers were already covered in the emotional power of reason, and Liu Yong summoned his golden soldiers again. The reason emotional entity followed me as I charged forward to kill. With a chop and a claw of my hand covered in emotional power, I easily tore the golden soldiers apart. Yet the golden soldiers' spears couldn't harm us a bit. Just like that, Liu Yong kept summoning golden soldiers to charge, while I pushed forward, constantly killing soldiers. The reason emotional entity also swept through everything with me. After fighting for a while, the reason emotional entity lost an arm, and I was panting heavily. Seeing this, Liu Yong thought to himself, "This kid's power has weakened. I can win. There aren't many places to escape to on this sea. I have every chance to capture him alive." At this moment, the woman of reason appeared and told me her power was running out. I asked what to do. She said, "What else?" "Run, of course." So I grabbed the chains, flew up, and planned to jump into the sea to escape. Liu Yong was shocked. Is this kid crazy? Running in that direction? The moment I jumped into the sea, I saw a terrifying scene. The seawater suddenly turned black. Then, a giant human face rose from the surface of the sea. But that wasn't all. When I looked to the other side, I saw an even more terrifying scene. Over the entire EC city, a massive black dragon was coiled. On the wilderness, countless black giant beasts grew out of the soil. And that horrifying scene in the sky, like a solar eclipse. The next second, my eyes bled. I covered my eyes and screamed in pain. All this time, I thought everyone was sick. It turns out it's not just everyone. The sea, the city, the land, the sky. Everything is sick. Meanwhile, Liu Yong saw me falling from the sky. He was surprised. His eyes are bleeding. Is this? I understand. So that's it. His power is borrowed. His own status is not enough to bear this truth. Kid, you're dead. And at this time, the woman of reason covered my eyes with her hand. Close your eyes. Although you can see certain truths by borrowing my status, that isn't something the current you can bear. Now, let me take over your body. Just as 3 giant soldiers thrust their spears to kill me, the woman of reason had already taken control of my body. The next second, the reason emotional entity thrust its sword into the seawater. The human face in the Black Sea roared. It actually reached out and slapped toward the Marine Emperor. Liu Yang was shocked. The Black Sea. His emotional monster can actually control the Black Sea. The Marine Emperor was swallowed by the Black Sea water. Not long after, I finally escaped back to shore. The woman of reason looked at me. Are you okay? I said I was fine. Just then, my eyes suddenly reassembled. I touched them. It was a real sensation. The woman of reason explained to me. It seems in your subconscious, these eyes symbolize your reason. Once your emotions calm down, your reason takes dominance again, so the eyes reappear. So that's how it is. Then I asked an EC city and the thing in the sky. What exactly happened to this world? Reason answered, this world underwent earth-shaking changes long ago. It's just that at your level, you had no way of knowing. The news says East Sea City is polluted by oil, but in reality, it's emotional entities polluting the East Sea. Years ago, a great battle caused a world-class depression emotional entity to lose control. It turned into black, viscous water, causing countless aircraft carriers and warships to sink there. The face you saw is the main body of the depression emotional entity. As for East Sea City, the whole world is now held hostage by emotional entities. It's normal for East Sea City to have a few terrifying emotional entities, just like that ship and the emotional monster that appear behind you. As for that thing in the sky, if I'm not mistaken, that is. What are you saying? Oh, can't hear it? It seems the current you doesn't possess the ability to understand things of that level. Your soul isn't enough to bear its greatness. If you force yourself to understand, you'll likely suffer a mental breakdown. I finally understand. This is the truth of the emotional sickness. So the sickness is just the tip of the iceberg. Reason continued. Although I saved you, I also let you see the truth of the world. For a little ant like you, dying in ignorance might have been happier. You can never return to your peaceful past life. Slaughter and danger will follow you like a shadow. I brought you into this vortex. Do you hate me? It's like being reborn. So, can you tell me who you really are? What exactly do you want me to do? The corners of her mouth lifted slightly. She answered, initially, I was just a wandering spirit. For so many years, I've roamed this city. No one could see me, and no one could speak to me. Reason withering, my power has been fading. Along with it, I lost a vast amount of memories. I even forgot who I was, remembering only my name. I was like a wildfire without fuel. Perhaps one day, I would just go out, until I met you. That day, you accidentally bumped into me and apologized. In all these years, only you have spoken to me. Only you could touch me. Then I knew, only you are qualified enough to carry my reason. If I'm a wildfire, then you're like a stove. With you, I can maintain myself and avoid fading away. That's why I approached you, pretending to be your colleague. That's why I helped you investigate your mother's cause of death. That's why I used all my power on the Marine Emperor to protect you. I will do everything I can to help you get everything you want. Money, power, status. I will help you with everything you desire. But in exchange, you must become strong. Strong enough to look directly at that secret in the sky. Strong enough to explore that secret in the sky. Because the most important part one is missing. God is in the sky. Let's reintroduce ourselves. Today is also my rebirth. Looking at the hand reaching out to me. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly. Then I grasped her hand. I am Chang Mo. Meanwhile, on a lifeboat. Have you found out who that person is? Surprisingly easy to find. Chang Mo, 18 years old, an artist for East Sea City's Tianji Group. His mother died when he was 10, suspected to have been hunted by Lu Jia. According to their company's annual medical report, he was still an ordinary person in March of this year. Song Hui was incredulous. That's impossible. To be able to fight the Marine Emperor means he is at least world-class combat strength. It's impossible to have such a massive increase in power in just a few months. That guy's power must be borrowed. When he fought the captain earlier, his eyes suddenly bled. He saw that thing in the sky. If it were truly his power, but it wouldn't be like that. Interesting to actually be able to borrow such power. That is power capable of controlling even the Black Sea. Who exactly is behind him? Captain, please investigate this guy's intelligence for us too. Correct. Song Hui waved her hand. Let's delay the captain's side for now. Let's go. I haven't reached world class yet. Staying up late still affects my skin. Miss Song, are we ignoring that kid? Don't worry. With our Song family's energy in Great Xia, he can't escape. And the person behind him, lending him power, can't escape either. We must secure this power. It is also for that adult. Not long after, Yi Li and I walked out of the forest. She asked me what my plans were. I said I want to find that adult Lu Jia spoke of. He was the main culprit who killed my mom. Yi Li, however, indicated that adult is very dangerous. A big shot hiding in the shadows is not someone we can deal with right now. The priority now is to find a place that can shelter us. If I'm not mistaken, the relevant forces on that ship are definitely looking for me now. She said her power was almost exhausted. If another world class comes, we're finished. Then she looked into the distance. Let's go. Almost there. The sanctuary I mentioned is just ahead. Not long after, we arrived at a hospital. This is the place you said could shelter me? Sitting in front of me was a group of mentally abnormal people. Correct. This is the East Sea City Second Mental Hospital. Yili told me, don't underestimate this mental hospital. Although it's a bit remote, this is an official institution of East Sea City, specialized in admitting emotional sickness patients. The Great Xia government is the strongest force in East Sea City. An emotional entity, like you, who can control an emotional monster, is very likely to be absorbed by the officials and become a member of the official organization. Besides, there is a special aspect to this place. Pity you can't see it now. I wonder what aspect. She told me, do you remember the giant emotional monsters you saw in East Sea City when you borrowed my power earlier? One of them guards this place. Not long after, I had blood drawn for testing and waited for the results. I noticed the nurses here didn't have cysts on their heads. Surprisingly, few patients had cysts either, except for the one next to me. But this cyst seemed different from what I saw before. Yili explained, you have truly mutated. As your self-awareness deepens, your abilities improve, so the things you can see increase. Before, you could only see cysts of anger, but now you can see other types of cysts. This should be a cyst that appears after infection by the happiness emotional virus. The patient can't help but laugh and will be very happy no matter what happens. So that's it. Just then, a girl behind me suddenly spoke to me. Hello, are you also here to see a doctor? I said yes, asking what was wrong. She replied, no, nothing. I just feel you're quite normal. I looked at her. Aren't you quite normal too? The girl quickly explained, of course I'm normal. My parents insisted I come. Then she started chattering. She said she checked online. This hospital specializes in admitting those particularly severe mental patients. It said inside, there's a classification B area. Patients in area A are already very abnormal. But patients in area B are even scarier. Every one of them is a homicidal maniac, having to be locked up with iron chains. Yili explained to me, if I'm not mistaken, Area A is responsible for those infected but not yet mutated. Area B is responsible for mutated emotional entities. Not long after, the test results came out. Chang Mo, Zhang Jieqi, follow me to process admission procedures. Then the nurse led us toward the inpatient building. Zhang Jieqi looked nervous. How is this possible? Second mental hospital? I'm being admitted just like that? Am I that abnormal? At this moment, I looked at Yi Li and asked, is Jieqi an emotional entity too? I don't see her emotional monster. Is her emotional monster hiding in her heart world? Yi Li replied, correct. Your ability isn't enough, so you can't see the emotional monster deep in her heart world. I asked again, this hospital can determine if we are emotional entities just by drawing blood? Yi Li answered, yeah. If I remember correctly, it's because of the instrument unobservability of emotional entities. Theoretically, your blood cannot be observed by instruments. However, the specific way it's unobservable is unknown without using the relevant instruments to look. Moments later, we arrived in front of a large gate. There were even guards standing on the sentry tower. Seeing this, Jieqi lost her composure. Ah, is this Area B? The place for perverted homicidal maniacs? She quickly grabbed the nurse's hand. I've never thought about killing anyone. How could I come to Area B? The nurse smiled and comforted, don't be nervous. Those short videos talk nonsense. If they don't make it sound thrilling, how will they get traffic? Cooperate well with the treatment, and you'll be fine. Jieqi remained afraid. Really? B, but why are you all holding guns? At this time, the guards on the high wall also raised their guns and aimed here. I watched from the side. Did you see that? That is Zhang Jieqi's emotional monster. A colorful cyst grew on her head. It turns out she was infected with a type of emotional virus called happiness. People infected with this disease can't help but laugh and will be very happy no matter what happens. But the other girl is different. The cysts on her head look like countless eyes. It turns out that not long ago, the girl and I were both judged by the hospital to be infected with high-risk emotional viruses. We needed to be hospitalized for observation, but the girl never expected the place of hospitalization to be Area B, which the internet claimed to imprison perverted killers. And it was exactly this emotional agitation that caused her cyst to be exposed. I watched from the side. Then I asked, I want to know, what happens to those patients not selected by the officials? Yili answered, they should be locked up. If they show dangerous tendencies, they might be executed on the spot. So don't act rashly, looking at the armed nurses and the snipers aiming from above. After a moment of silence, I placed my hand on Jechi's shoulder. Then I smiled and said to her, don't be so nervous. Relax, relax. Being so jittery, you might really be shot as a dangerous element. As my reason emotional power activated, Jechi's emotional cyst dissipated at that moment. She calmly turned her head and said, true. Then she apologized to the nurse. Sorry. The nurse was astonished. Her emotional monster hid back deep in her heart world. She was on the verge of losing control just now, yet she stabilized. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. Yili also said to me at this time, unexpected. A stranger, yet you actually care about her safety, even using the power of reason to help her suppress the out-of-control state. I indicated, I just want to appear a bit more compassionate. Otherwise, watching her about to be killed and remaining indifferent would make me seem cold-blooded. The officials are unlikely to absorb a cold-blooded emotional entity, right? But just then, the nurse spoke in her headset. Fire. The next second, a bullet accurately hit Jechi. Jechi collapsed in front of me, just like that. I stared blankly at this scene, until Yili reminded me, hey, give some reaction. Otherwise, you really are cold-blooded. I quickly squatted down to check. Dead just like that? But when I looked closer, I found no blood. It turned out to be an anesthetic bullet. I instantly let out a breath. Not long after, Jechi was carried away on a stretcher. The nurse instructed, sorry to trouble you. Unknown type emotional entity. Emotionally unstable. Contain as high danger level. I asked, high danger level? What will happen to her? The nurse smiled and answered, just need to be a bit more careful when guarding her. Didn't scare you just now, did it? You look very calm. How about I evaluate you right here? Just a few questions. I replied with a solemn gaze. Okay. The nurse looked at my file and said, did you come to our hospital for a checkup voluntarily? That's actually quite rare. Tell me the reason you decided to come to the mental hospital. I answered, okay. At first, I could see things others couldn't see. Those were the cysts and monsters on most people's heads. Later, I seemed to have some power others couldn't see. I thought it was hallucinations, so I wanted to come to the hospital to check. Can you see the thing on my hand? The nurse looked at me with a face full of shock. This was exactly what I wanted. If I want to join the officials, my power definitely can't be hidden. Since that's the case, I might as well demonstrate my value as much as possible. As for the extra risks brought by revealing my power, I can only bear them. Then the nurse said to me, that really is unexpected. I have to report this to the higher-ups. As a result, she turned her head and said one word, fire. The next second, a bullet hit me. With a thud, I fell to the ground. Only then did the nurse speak into the microphone. Why did he fall? 2 unseen emotional entity types in one day. Scared me to death. Oldie, good job. Not a hair harmed. Oldie laughed. Everyone's working hard. By the way, why shoot this last one too? He looked quite normal to me. The nurse said, this kind that looks normal is actually the scariest. Earlier, I watched the surveillance of him entering the hospital. Although he hid it well, I still found issues with his occasional body language. He was talking to an invisible person. This is typical schizophrenia. He is currently the gentle personality. Then his other personality is extremely likely to be very dangerous. Moreover, his emotional power is also of a type never seen before. What's more terrifying is that when he uses emotional power, his emotional monster doesn't appear. This means he can already skillfully master emotional power. A schizophrenic who has skillfully mastered unknown emotional power. This is more terrifying than that girl. Must be subdued immediately. All right, call someone to help him. Just then, I climbed up. Coincidentally, the nurse looked over. Our eyes met. The next second, the nurse retreated several meters in fright. Wah, how are you okay? Oldie was also scared and quickly sounded the alarm. Target reactive again. Target reactive again. All units alert. All units alert. Then a rush of footsteps sounded. Moments later, the high walls were full of armed guards. Only then did Yili say, I was just about to tell you not to get up yet. My eyes focused. In that case, don't shoot. I surrender. I surrender. I immediately struck a pose of surrender. Subsequently, the nurse and guards all wore expressions of what kind of showy maneuver is this. Moments later, my hands were wrapped in a black chain. The nurse laughed. Now there's finally no problem. Although you gained special power, this chain can suppress all special powers. Now you're no different from an ordinary person. I looked at the chains binding me and fell into doubt. This is a lock that can suppress all emotional power. But why do I feel a continuous stream of power from this chain pouring into my body? At this time, Yili saw my confusion. Very strange why you were absorbing the chain's power? Because the metal used to make this chain was infected by reason emotion long ago. This chain thus gained the effect of suppressing other emotional powers. To others, this is a restraint. To you, however, it is a great supplement. Meanwhile, Donghai City Emotional Entity Management Bureau. The bureau chief was bowing and scraping to the person on the phone. Miss Song, the person you want to found has been located. He entered the second hospital and became a patient of the second hospital. Hearing this, Song Hui said, "Oh, the second hospital? That falls under your jurisdiction." The bureau chief quickly replied, "Miss Song, rest assured. I'll go demand the person right now." Hanging up the phone, Song Hui laughed, going quite smoothly. Chang Mo, nice name. Then she looked at the man sitting in the torture chair. Before extracting your power, we can still have some fun. I really hope to see that delicate little face of yours in pain and despair. She also has a sickness, able to see handsome guys thousands of miles away taking a bath. If she doesn't see handsome guys for a long time, many eyeballs will grow on her head. Nurse Shaolin said nervously, "Sister Zhou, she can't hold on anymore. Hurry and give her the medicine." Sister Zhou stopped her. "Wait a bit longer. Try to let the patient control it with her will." The girl couldn't help but roar, "I can't control it. I just really want to see handsome guys. Is that wrong?" Nurse Zhou quickly shouted, "Apply the medicine." But the little nurse dropped the medicine in her panic. "What are you doing?" Dropping the ball at the critical moment. Just as Nurse Zhou picked up the medicine, a hand reached out to the girl. "Calm down. If you lose control and become a monster, you'll never see them again." It turned out the doctor had arrived. The head nurse quickly reminded, "Dr. Liu, you're being too reckless." Just then, the cysts on the girl's head suddenly trembled. Moments later, they all disappeared. The doctor praised, "Little Jiechi is awesome. I knew you could do it." The girl's name is Zhang Jiechi. Cause of illness is constant obsession with handsome men. First onset was a month ago after encountering a certain handsome male. Upon returning home, she discovered she could see images of said male bathing at home. From this, it is inferred that the emotional power is an ability similar to clairvoyance. Doctor tentatively designates as number 7 unknown type emotional entity. Danger level tentatively low. And the doctor looked at me. Patient name, Chong, MO emotion stable. Sought medical attention because of seeing things ordinary people can't see and possessing power ordinary people can't see. Suspected schizophrenia, but denied by the individual, stating he just likes talking to himself. Emotional power is hand condensing crystals, releasing blue flames. Tentatively designated as number 7 unknown type emotional entity. Danger level tentatively medium. After the diagnosis, the doctor smiled at me. "Don't worry, your emotions are very stable. I believe you'll be discharged soon. But before we figure out your ability, you still have to wear the chains. Thank you for your hard work." Then she walked to the next patient. "And then there's you. You are the most headache-inducing." Patient name, Chen Jun. No bad behavior. No adverse reactions. Except for abnormal blood tests, he looks no different from a normal person no matter how you look at him. No, there's a difference from normal people. Normal people aren't this dumb. Tentatively designated as number 6 unknown emotional entity. Danger level tentatively low. Such a headache. I looked at the boy. Could he be an emotional entity with IQ issues? Or is stupidity also considered an emotion? At this time, Jiechi got excited. "Great, I'm not mentally ill. I'm a superpower user. And a superpower is watching handsome guys take baths. Is this heaven?" The doctor reminded, "Little Jiechi, don't let your guard down. Strictly speaking, all emotional entities are mentally ill. It's just that some can control it, and some can't." In addition, according to Article 4 of the Emotional Entity Secret Management Law, Great Xia established the Emotional Entity Management Bureau to manage all emotional entities within Great Xia. Our hospital is a subordinate institution of the Emotional Entity Management Bureau, specialized in admitting emotional entities to ensure you don't harm society. I raised a question. Emotional entities have to submit to state management? The doctor answered, of course. So you must undergo treatment properly. If you go out and commit crimes violating Great Xia's laws, when the Donghai City Emotional Entity Management Bureau comes to arrest you, they won't be as gentle as us. Being able to keep your life would be lucky. At that time, I won't be able to protect you. Understood? Not long after, I took the Emotional Entity Management Law and started reading. Emotional Entity Secret Management Law, Article 7. The Emotional Entity Management Bureau has the right to manage emotional entities. The Emotional Entity Management Bureau sets up corresponding treatment institutions, enforcement agencies, and judicial institutions to be responsible for specific affairs regarding emotional entities within Great Xia. Ensuring emotional entities within Great Xia abide by national laws, and arresting, interrogating, and sentencing emotional entities who violate the law. Reading this article, I had a question. If, as written in this Emotional Entity Secret Management Law, emotional entities cannot violate Great Xia laws, why can Lu Jia remain at large? Yili told me, on the surface, there must be fairness and justice. But secretly, there are definitely all kinds of secret deals. Lu Jia being at large obviously involves the higher-ups of the Emotional Management Bureau. As for who and how deep, no one knows. I continue to ask, how did you know Lu Jia killed my mother? Yili answered, police files. The police suspected Lu Jia long ago. But later, the case was transferred to a secret department, and the investigation didn't continue. That secret department is naturally the Great Xia Emotional Entity Management Bureau. At this moment, I suddenly realized something bad. Lu Jia's backer is a high-level official of the Emotional Management Bureau, and this hospital is a subordinate institution of the Emotional Entity Management Bureau. Then aren't we dead meat here? Yili also reacted at this time, right? Oh, then she revealed a smile. Can't quite remember the specific reason. Before merging with you, my memory was constantly leaking away, you know? I only remember that although there's risk, we can gamble on it. So I let you come. Anyway, we're already here. What we can do now is properly absorb the power of this chain. For the rest, just trust the me from before. Meanwhile, the female doctor was called to the office to receive the bureau chief of the Emotional Management Bureau. The bureau chief first took a sip of coffee. Then he violently slammed it onto the ground. Dr. Lu quickly asked, "Chief, what's wrong?" The chief threw a stack of documents over. "What's wrong? Don't you know yourself? Take a good look at what you've done." Meanwhile, two nurses were pressing against the door, eavesdropping. Nurse Zhou couldn't help but say, "He's just a bureau chief. Is it necessary to curse people every time he comes?" Nurse Xiaolin asked, "Why is it like this? Doesn't the director intervene?" Nurse Zhou answered, "The director can't manage him either. In terms of rank, he is still the director's superior. Our hospital's funding has to be allocated by them. The director has no choice either. Later, he just refused to see him. Now it's Dr. Lu who has to receive him. That guy is fairly respectful to the director, but he never gives Dr. Lu a pleasant look. Dr. Lu trembles with fear every time she sees him." At this time, the chief stood up and said, "Just last night, this person committed a murder on the Marine Emperor. He fled into your hospital this morning. Your hospital actually processed admission procedures for him. Don't you know what power stands behind the Marine Emperor? Don't you know this person is a murderer? Don't you know this is already a diplomatic incident?" After asking 3 questions in a row, the chief exhaled sharply. Then he looked down at the female doctor. "Hand the person over to me immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." As soon as he finished this sentence, the female doctor unexpectedly stopped trembling. The bureau chief thought to himself, "Piece of cake. But she's probably scared witless. Now, she can't even tremble." Just then, a drop of blood fell on his shoulder. He touched his shoulder, but found nothing. Just as he thought it was an illusion, more blood poured onto him. But the next moment, it disappeared. Just as he was wondering what was going on, the blood appeared again. This time, it covered a larger area. Blood was already flooding the floor. Just then, the female doctor stood up. She spoke slowly. "Do you really think I'm afraid of you?" "No, I am indeed afraid of myself. Afraid I won't be able to stop myself from slaughtering you." Who would have thought the contrast in the female doctor would be so drastic? Before this emotional outburst, she was a quiet and gentle girl. After releasing her emotions, she became a queen controlling a sea of blood. At this moment, Bureau Chief Zhao looked terrified. It was clearly an office, yet he felt as if he were standing amidst a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. What kind of emotional power was this? The woman before him was definitely not an ordinary person. Just as he was pondering what to do, The sound of a cane tapping the ground rang out. It turned out the director had arrived. Bureau Chief Zhao, why didn't you tell me you were coming? At this time, the surrounding scene had returned to normal. Bureau Chief Zhao was surprised to find that the mountain of corpses and sea of blood had vanished. The director spoke again. Bureau Chief Zhao, you came for Chong Mo, right? Colleagues from background checks told me that the person Chong Mo killed is named Lu Jia. He is an emotional entity. He renounced our great Xia citizenship years ago. Lu Jia is not protected by our country's laws. Moreover, the incident happened on the Marine Emperor in international waters. Chong Mo, firstly, did not harm our country's property. Secondly, he did not harm our citizens. Therefore, he did not violate the secret administration law of emotional entities. Bureau Chief Zhao stammered, yes, but the pressure from the Marine Emperor is intense. You also know the power behind them. The leaders above in our bureau told me I must give them an explanation today. Hearing this, the director tapped the ground again. Then his face darkened. You're talking about the Song family, right? Spineless cowards. Do Great Xia's internal affairs depend on the Marine Emperor's mood? As for you, I remember Lu Jia was a suspect back then. How was he allowed to change his citizenship? And he's been swaggering around Donghai City all this time. Are you blind? Do you want me to report this to the superiors as well? Shortly after, Bureau Chief Zhao drove away in disgrace. The director watched Bureau Chief Zhao's car leave and snorted coldly. Little brat, talking nonsense to me. At that moment, Dr. Liu hugged the director's arm. You are still the best, director. The director, however, hit her on the head with his cane. Control your emotions. Do you want to lose control? Dr. Liu complained. I've suppressed it for so many years. I have to catch my breath. Besides, I feel my condition has stabilized recently. The director scolded. This is the most critical moment for you. You must control your emotions. Do not be careless. Dr. Liu answered obediently, I know. A moment later, Dr. Liu said in surprise, so a world-level battle really broke out on the Marine Emperor? Even the polluted Donghai surged because of it. Could this world-level entity be Chong Mo? Maybe his target was the Marine Emperor from the start. The director replied, I'm not clear about the details either, but Chong Mo is not world level. Records show that Chong Mo has lived in Donghai City since childhood, and he has a physical exam every year. The most recent exam showed he was still a normal person, so it can't be him. Therefore, behind him, there must be another world-level emotional entity. Dr. Liu asked, if that's the case, what does the world-level emotional entity behind him want to do? Fighting the Marine Emperor just to save Chong Mo? And if he has a world-level emotional entity behind him, why come to the second hospital? The next second, her eyes turned red. Could it be that the world-level emotional entity's next target is our second hospital? The director hit her on the head with his cane again. Then he looked at the green plants in the corner. Look at the flowers I let you raise. You even hid them in the corner. Did you think I couldn't see them? Dr. Liu said angrily, Director, we're talking about serious business. The director then resumed his composure. Don't worry. That world-level emotional entity is not in the second hospital. If he were within the range of the second hospital, I would definitely be able to detect him. As for Chong Mo, Dr. Liu immediately snorted. This Chong Mo definitely has bad intentions. We really should have handed him over just now. The director held the green plant and spoke metaphorically. Emotional entities are like plants. Some plants can grow vigorously without external force, but some plants need support from others. Otherwise, they cannot stand. This child is a pitiful person. His parents died early, and he came out to work very early. Just as things were looking up, he was hunted by an emotional entity. By the way, that Lu Jia was the suspect who killed his mother. There are no such coincidences. It was clearly arranged. Many secret organizations or cults will select suitable people, especially those like Chong Mo who bear a deep grudge, to help them take revenge in exchange for their loyalty. Chong Mo might have come to the second hospital with a mission, but since he is a citizen of Great Xia, we cannot give up on him. If he goes astray, we must pull him back. Meanwhile, at the Donghai City Emotional Entity Management Bureau, as soon as Bureau Chief Zhao returned, he looked up Dr. Liu's file. The result made his pupils constrict as it displayed insufficient privileges, unable to view or download. At this moment, Song Hui called. Zhao respectfully answered the phone. Miss Song, this matter will take a little more time to resolve. Don't say that. I can handle it. Okay, I will definitely cooperate. Definitely. A moment later, the call ended. Meanwhile, Song Hui was drinking tea with a middle-aged man. She spoke, Mr. Zhao, will trouble your black love for what follows. The master said, since that old man is so in the way, let's just advance the plan. Flatten the second hospital directly. Just bring Chong Mo back. The man extinguished his cigarette, but then he said coldly, no problem. The next night, at the Donghai City Second Mental Hospital. At this time, I was sitting cross-legged on the hospital bed, absorbing the rationality power in the chains. Yili praised, not bad, not bad. The rationality emotional power has increased a lot. If this goes on, you will soon need the law. I asked in confusion, what is the law? Yili told me, different emotional entities need different conditions to grow. How to absorb power, how to control power, there is a series of methods. Otherwise, one will lose control. And this set of specific growth plans for specific emotional entities. That is called law. Although you briefly became world level using my power before, that was not power you could master. To truly master powerful strength, you must digest the power step by step according to the method provided by the law and grow slowly. Your rationality, emotional power has accumulated so quickly. If you don't have the law of rationality, you will soon lose control. Suddenly, the emotional entities in the hospital lost control. Even the director was fighting the incoming enemy. However, just a few minutes prior, Yili had been teaching me the use of the law. The so-called law is a systematic method to master emotional power. Once you learn the law, you can control your emotions and prevent yourself from losing control. And the most basic law for a rationality emotional entity is to continuously experience other emotions with high intensity. But Yili said to me, your anger accumulated over many years was used up long ago. Nothing special has happened recently, and you have no emotional fluctuations. So you can't use this method right now. So let's rest for today. Meanwhile, when Nurse Zhou was doing her rounds, she tucked in Jiechi's blanket. Just as Nurse Zhou was about to leave, I asked her a question. By the way, Sister Zhou, you're a normal person, right? Why can you also see emotional power? Nurse Zhou smiled and answered, some things happened. It's all in the past. You too. Keep it up. Difficulties will always pass. Yili listened and said, behind that understatement, who knows what kind of misfortune lies? In this world, seeing itself is a form of power. This power is either based on status. For example, when you use my power, you can see the truth of the world, or it comes from experience and luck. Neither can be lacking. You got lucky after experiencing your mother's incident and managed to glimpse a corner of the truth. So, if a normal person can see emotional power, there is a high probability it is accompanied by misfortune. At the same time, seeing too much without having the status. That is itself a misfortune. I fell silent after hearing this. Nurse Zhou turned her head at this moment. By the way, I saw your file. This is for you. A necklace appeared before my eyes. Giving me this necklace, what for? Nurse Zhou told me, this is no ordinary necklace. Then, under my puzzled gaze, the bead in the middle of the necklace actually lit up. I smiled and said thanks. Then she went with Nurse Shaolin to check the next bed. Yili teased at this moment, heart flutter. This nurse lady is nice. I replied, what's the use of that? Yili was speechless. Should I say, as expected, of a rationality, emotional entity? But you will easily lose control like this. Suddenly, Jiechi woke up from the bed with a start. I looked at her. Are you okay? Jiechi indicated it was nothing, just a nightmare. At this time, we heard another shout. Nurse Shaolin hurried over to ask, what is it now? Why do you all sleep so restlessly? Before she could say the word restlessly fully, an explosion occurred at the next bed. In the moment of life and death, Nurse Shaolin was pushed out by a hand. I watched in shock. Jiechi also dropped her jaw at this scene. After Nurse Shaolin was pushed away, she landed on the ground along with that severed hand. I looked at the scene before me in disbelief. What happened? It was as if the whole room had been erased. Nurse Shaolin stared blankly at the severed hand. Then tears gushed out like a spring. Sister Zhou, Sister Zhou. It turned out that at the last moment, Nurse Zhou pushed her out. And Nurse Zhou was erased in that instant. Just then, a person climbed out of the pit. That person was the patient suffering from the happy emotional sickness. The next second, his happy emotional entity was revealed. Yili hurriedly warned me, careful, is this the happy emotional entity losing control? The happy emotional entity can decompose all matter. He caused a commotion just now. Then an explosion occurred on the side. Subsequently, an explosion also occurred on the roof. After calming down, I looked in the direction of the explosion. I saw that the ward was full of emotional entities out of control. Nurse Xiao Lin looked terrified. Out of control. The patients are out of control. I have to call the security team. Just as she finished speaking, the sound of gunfire came from outside. I said calmly, I'm afraid the security team can't attend to us. Gunshots. And this abnormal loss of control. The second hospital has been attacked. Nurse Xiao Lin slumped to the ground. We are under attack. How can this be? Where is the director? Yili answered, unfortunately, she can't see them. The director is busy. At this moment, in the sky above the hospital, a red monster was fighting a black monster. Two world-level emotional entities appeared in the sky. On the hospital roof, the director was looking at a man. Blood-colored thorns. It's the hatred emotional entity. Are you Black Love? The man in the winter hat said, I am the new bishop of Black Love in Donghai City. Today I come to take your life. Flatten the second hospital. The director emitted red emotional energy. Your tone is big, but confining my emotional monster in the mental world and using the main body to decide the outcome is the worst decision you've ever made. As his voice fell, the director had turned into a monster. Meanwhile, in the ward, I asked, you mean the director is fighting the enemy's world-level entity? Then the second hospital will be flattened, and we will be affected too. Yili answered, don't worry. The opposing sides seemed to have a tacit understanding. They both chose to put their main power in the mental world to fight. It shouldn't affect us. But I have to remind you, I have no power now. You have to rely on yourself for what's next. At this time, Nurse Xiao Lin was still in panic. Director, why hasn't the director come to save us yet? Jiechi said nervously, Nurse sister, pull yourself together. You quickly think of a way to calm them down. Then find a car. So I bought a Tesla on Gwazi used cars. It only cost $99,000. Every car on Gwazi has official inspection. Electric cars, 3 electric systems, have original factory warranty. The battery also has a 100-day attenuation guarantee. Gwazi recently listed thousands of cheap direct sale cars from individuals. Buying one is earning one. Buying used cars, Gwazi is guarantees. Nurse Xiao Lin looked desperate. Calm them down? Impossible, impossible. They have lost control. Their emotional power will tear us to shreds. We're going to die. I sighed and tore off the chains on my hands. Then I pressed one hand on the happy patient's head. Just like that, the happy patient was subdued by me. Jiechi was stunned. Nurse Xiao Lin was also stunned. After a moment of silence, I said, don't just stand there. Let's go. Nurse Lin stammered. You, what did you do? Jiechi waved her hand. Chanamo, you are so cool. I answered calmly, nothing. Just calm them down. Nurse Lin was amazed. Your emotional power can actually calm out of control emotional entities? This is amazing. It turned out Yili had just told me the happy emotional entity can decompose all matter and poses the greatest threat to you. If you get hit by his ability, you will also be shattered. You must deal with him first. I worried, can decompose everything? That's too ridiculous. Isn't that invincible? Yili explained, but emotional power is not matter. If you use your emotional power, you can block his attack. Just then, a ball of fire flew towards me. The next second, it blasted onto me. Nurse Lin and Jiechi looked at me, thinking I was dead. But the next second, I rushed out of the smoke. The first angry patient was calmed down by me, then the second angry patient, then the last one. At this time, he had already launched an attack. More than a dozen small fireballs shot towards me. Facing the oncoming fireballs, I chose to take them head on. Then I placed my hand on the head of the last angry patient. With that, the 3 angry patients were dealt with by me. Subsequently, I looked at Jiechi and Nurse Lin. Are you guys okay? The two were surprised again. So powerful. Not only can he stop other emotional entities from losing control, but his defense is also so terrifying. What kind of emotional entity is this? Just then, a pool of ink fell beside Jiechi. It turned out there was another out-of-control patient above them. I saw black liquid constantly flowing from this patient's head. Nurse Lin hurriedly said, be careful. That is the sadness emotional monster. He can make everything sink. Sadness emotional monsters usually don't move. We won't be in danger if we don't provoke him. Yili also followed up with a reminder. Your resistance to sadness is not high. Don't touch that black water. This should be infected by the black Donghai, but is still very weak. It doesn't matter. Let's go quickly. Then I called the 2 of them to leave quickly. Jiechi said, all right. Chinjun, we looked at the crushed bed. I'm afraid he's already dead. How could this be? Everything was fine just now. How come suddenly? Sister Zhou and Chinjun are both dead. Jiechi patted Nurse Lin's shoulder. Pull yourself together. The most important thing for us now is to survive. With Chang and Mo here, it will be fine. Just then, my leg was hugged by someone. You're so right. With his brother here, we will definitely survive. The head nurse rolled her eyes back, her mouth wide open. She was strangely suspended in the air. It turned out she was pierced by blood-colored thorns invisible to ordinary people. She was already dead. When I walked outside, the scene was even more bizarre. Many people were suspended in the air outside, and they were all pierced by blood-colored thorns. The scene was like purgatory. A few minutes ago, I led Nurse Lin, Jiechi, and Chunjun, the three of them, out of the ward. I asked Nurse Lin, "Do you have Dr. Lu's phone number?" Nurse Lin took out her phone to make a call, but found there was no signal at all. I guessed it might be a signal jamming device. Can't hear gunshots either. The security team might have been taken out by the attackers. A moment later, when Jiechi and Nurse Lin couldn't run anymore, I realized my physical fitness seemed a bit extraordinary. Yili told me different emotional entities change the body differently. Rationality power can improve control in all aspects. So your stamina has indeed improved. I looked at Chunjun. Could he be too? At this moment, Jiechi said, the sound of gunfire should reach the outpatient department, right? Someone might call the police. Should we find a place to hide? Nurse Lin said, actually at night, the entire hospital building is empty. Only we must have people. Because the director is here, everyone is very reassured. We have to find the director. I told her, it's useless for us to find the director. Since the director hasn't come for so long, he must be held up by the enemy. The second hospital itself is remote. Now it's an isolated island. The enemy came prepared. We must escape first. Chunjun expressed, having only the director as an emotional entity in the whole area is really unsafe. Nurse Lin denied, no. Actually, the doctors and our head nurse are also very powerful emotional entities. It's just that the doctors happen to be away today. By the way, the head nurse. We still have the head nurse. She can definitely protect us. An image appeared in my mind. Head nurse? That person. I rarely see her. Are she and the doctors both very powerful emotional entities? Suddenly, an angry patient rushed out from the side, but the next second he was calmed down by me. At this time, Nurse Lin saw something. Mom. She rushed over hurriedly, but when she ran over, she found a nurse in front of her had no breath. At this moment, I suddenly thought of a question. How did the enemy make so many patients lose control at the same time? Nurse Lin answered, I don't know either. You all take medicine on time, every day. Actually, these medicines are like the chains that bound you before. They can suppress emotional power. So it's impossible for patients to suddenly lose control. I raised a doubt. Is it possible they tampered with the medicine? Because the time of taking medicine is the same, so the time of the attack is naturally the same. Nurse Lin denied it. The medicines are strictly checked, and to make different emotional entities lose control, one must use targeted medication one by one. Jiechi was puzzled. What does targeted medication one by one mean? Nurse Lin explained, it means giving medicine containing anger to anger emotional entities, and medicine containing happiness to happy emotional entities. Only in this way will the emotional entities lose control due to sudden increase in power. Our medicines are all assigned names by the head nurse, and then fed to patients by nurses in each room. The enemy can't do it. Speaking of this, Nurse Lin's pupils suddenly constricted. No way. Could be the head nurse? I pondered. It seems this is the only explanation. The head nurse is a traitor. She colluded with the outside and distributed medicine that caused loss of control to the patients, causing the patients to lose control collectively. This also explains why the few of US didn't lose control, because we three are emotional entities of unrecorded types, so she couldn't drug us. Before long, we finally ran to the hospital entrance, but we stopped there because we saw a person suspended in the air. And this person was the head nurse. Jiechi said nervously, it seems to be the head nurse. Why could she fly? Is she going to deal with us? Nurse Lin questioned, head nurse, why did you do this? Why did you betray the second hospital? Sister Zhou, Mom, they're all dead. Do you not care about any of this? But the head nurse remained suspended in the air without answering. At this time, Jiechi suddenly said, wait, something is wrong. She doesn't seem to be floating in the air. There's something on her body. I spoke up only then, so you can't see it. The head nurse is not floating in the air. She was pierced by blood-colored thorns and hung in the air. She's already dead. Nurse Lin slumped to the ground. How can this be? I thought to myself, this is silencing the witness, right? Suddenly I noticed someone else on the other side. But when I saw the full picture, I almost lost my calm. I saw many guards suspended in the sky outside the door. They were in strange postures and motionless. Only I saw the real scene. They were all pierced by blood-colored thorns and then hung in the air. Suddenly, a man appeared. Changamo, you finally showed up. Countless thorns stabbed towards me. The hospital guards were strangely suspended in the air. It turned out they were pierced by invisible blood-colored thorns. And the culprit was this fat man. The next second, many thorns grew on my body too. This reminded me of the head nurse's miserable state. So I waved my hand and used blue flames. The flames instantly swallowed everything around. The fat man said disdainfully, "This kid is nothing special." Like most people, panic-stricken in the face of attacks from unknown sources, using abilities indiscriminately. To think I had to come specially to bring him back. But when the flames dissipated, he was dumbfounded. Because I was long gone. I see. Using flames as a smokescreen to prepare for escape. Quick reaction. But you can't run away. At this time, I took Jechi and the others to hide in a room. Nurse Lin asked, "Chang Yamo, what's wrong? Why did you suddenly drag us running back?" Jechi noticed my abnormality. "I seem to see. There are red spikes on Chang Mo's body." Nurse Lin, however, expressed, "What red spikes? I can't see anything at all." Yili commented, "Jechi is not bad. She can actually see the spikes. It's due to specific emotional power. Little Lin is a bit worse. Can't see at all. As for him, truly amazing. Even I haven't figured out what his situation is." While pulling out the spikes on my body, I responded to Yili, "Let's deal with the matter at hand first." I didn't see where these spikes flew from at all, and they disappear after being pulled out. What's more troublesome is that I don't know when the area was surrounded by blood-colored thorns. Then I deliberately extended my hand out the window, exposing it to the sight of the blood-colored thorns. Nurse Lin wondered what I was doing, just as I thought my judgment was wrong. The next second, blood-colored thorns grew on my hand. I quickly pulled my hand back. Sure enough, I can't appear in front of these thorns. Otherwise, after a period of time, blood-colored spikes will grow continuously on the body until death. Such an exciting plot, of course, must be watched with a good device. I recently changed to a new phone to binge watch. I sold the old one on a second-hand platform. I found that Zhuan recently issued large recycling subsidies in cooperation with the national subsidy. My Apple phone was sold for over $4,800 via Zhuan's door-to-door recycling. Now Zhuan recycles many categories, like digital products, home appliances, even gold and luxury goods. Zhuan can recycle them all. In short, for secondhand recycling, I recommend Zhuan. I thought while pulling out the thorns, what exactly is this thing? At this time, Yili thought of something. I remember this seems to be the power of the hatred emotional entity, but I'm not clear about the details. Don't look at me like that. I have amnesia. Jechi was puzzled. Why isn't Chang Mo talking? Nurse Xiao Lin answered. The report says he is suspected of having schizophrenia. Could be a schizophrenia attack. I spoke up only then. Let me explain the situation to everyone. Huge blood-colored thorns have surrounded the area. That should be the power of the resentment emotional entity. As long as you're seen by the thorns, after about 5 or 6 seconds, blood-colored spikes will continuously grow in your body until death. The guards and the head nurse died like this. I was attacked like this just now. So we must hide from those blood-colored thorns. Nurse Xiao Lin thought of something upon hearing this. I remember now. They are the Black Love Cult. We have internal documents in the second hospital that introduce some emotional entity forces. The Black Love Cult is one of the cult organizations. More than 10 years ago, they attempted to destroy Donghai City. They also caused a powerful sadness emotional entity to lose control, dying Donghai Black. Later, their plan was foiled, and they went dormant. They are all resentment emotional entities. Their emotional power manifests as blood-colored thorns. So the Black Donghai was caused by them. Yili pulled her hair. Black Love Cult. Resentment emotional entity. I seem to have forgotten something important. Ugh, amnesia is really troublesome. Just then, blood-colored thorns suddenly appeared on my body. What's going on? I wasn't seen by the thorns. Moreover, why am I the only one hit from the very beginning? At this time, Yili discovered a red dot not far away. Her eyes adjusted focus, and then she saw a blood-red eyeball. I saw it. That direction. Use fire. I quickly used fire in that direction. The flames swept across, instantly swallowing it, accompanied by a scream. I was surprised. What did I burn just now? Yili explained. It's an eye condensed from the enemy's emotional power. The invisibility level of this eye is relatively high, so you can't see it. If I guess correctly, the enemy can also see through this eye. It can make spikes grow on your body. Just then, my body was covered with spikes again. This time was denser. Quick, attack over there. I released flames in the direction Yili pointed. Nurse Shaolin was scared. Chang'emo, what are you doing? Why do you keep setting fires? Have you lost control too? Jiechi helped explain. No, there are more and more spikes on Chang'mo's body. He is being attacked. I use flames continuously. I burned all the eyeballs Yili pointed out to me, and all of this fell into the fat man's eyes. I didn't expect you to be able to see my eyes of hatred, but unfortunately, I have plenty of eyes, following like a shadow, but leaving no trace. This is the power of hatred. You can struggle, resist, and flee all you want. But in the end, there will only be one result. That is to be captured. Just then, a wave of dizziness hit me. I fell flat on the ground. I didn't expect the Winter Hat Man's power to be hatred. As long as the emotion of hatred exists, he will turn into eyes of hatred and follow like a shadow until the target's body is covered with blood-colored thorns. The next second, I collapsed entirely on the ground. At this time, my body was already covered with thorns. Jiechi cried out, "Who is it? Who is attacking us?" But just then she saw something. I see so many red eyes. Jiechi was terrified, screaming in terror. Nurse Lin looked at her worriedly. Jiechi, are you okay? Are you having an attack too? How can this be? What red eyes? I didn't see anything. You must be hallucinating from the illness. Yili said, I didn't expect that Jiechi would be able to see those eyes. But it's useless. Everything is over. At this moment, I could feel the spikes on my body. These spikes are truly magical. Apart from me, they don't affect anything else. The floor, my clothes, nothing interacts with them. If not for the pain and paralysis, I'd really think it was an illusion. Then I asked Yili, I'm really done for. Do you have any other way? Yili replied, no. I'm not lying to you. My power was exhausted at sea. I was surprised, but you don't seem worried at all. Does my death not affect you? Yili replied calmly, if you die, I die too. But worrying is useless. Rest assured, no matter what your final ending is, I will accompany you. I was silent for a moment. Then I said to everyone, Jiechi, Sister Shaolin, Chenjun, run quickly. I guess the enemy's target was me from the beginning. The spikes on my body have stopped growing now. The enemy doesn't intend to kill me. He just wants me to lose the ability to move. They want to capture me alive. As long as you don't interfere with his escape, you should be able to survive. Jiechi spoke, indeed. From the beginning, only Chang Mo had spikes growing on his body. But to escape alone, Nurse Lin reacted differently. I have to escape by myself. But the next second she broke down, I dare not. Who can save us? Who can save us? Jiechi looked at Nurse Lin speechlessly. At this moment, Chenjun walked over. Then he helped me up from the ground. Jiechi asked in confusion, Chenjun, what are you doing? Chenjun replied, taking Chang'emo with us. Jiechi hurriedly tried to stop him. No, we are surrounded by those eyes now. Those eyes have seen us. They can make thorns grow out of our bodies at any moment. It's just that the enemy's target is Chang'emo, so we're okay. If we take Chenjun, if we take Chang'emo, the enemy's next target will be us. We won't be able to escape. Chenjun laughed, be optimistic. How do you know it won't work if you don't try? Meanwhile, this scene was also seen by the hooded man. These annoying pests. How irritating. It's a pity the cult leader ordered me to try not to kill these patients and nurses. Just blockade the area, create chaos, and wait for the cult leader to kill the director and evacuate with Chang'emo. He hesitated for a moment. Then he smiled ferociously, decided, it should be fine to kill just these three. Who asked you to oppose me? Just then, a loud boom was heard. The hooded man also felt the vibration. What's going on? I can't see them. The eye of hatred in that area has been destroyed. At this moment, smoke rose around us, and many out-of-control patients appeared near us. The hooded man also discovered this situation. So it's the out-of-control patients. They must still be in their rooms. At this time, Jiechi shouted, the red eyes are gone. They were destroyed by the abilities of the out-of-control patients just now. Immediately, we followed Jiechi and ran. While running, I looked at Nurse Shaolin. Sister Shaolin, do you still have the chains you used to tie me up before? Nurse Shaolin replied, yes, in the equipment room on the second floor. I immediately said, go there. Yili praised me. Not a bad idea. By absorbing the power of rationality within the chains, you can recover your state. Operation Red Star. Jiechi had been scouting ahead. Ahead. Around the corner on the left, there's a red eye. Head right. Yili praised Jechi. Not bad. Her vision can actually penetrate obstacles, as expected of an emotional power symbolized by eyes. At this moment, Jechi stopped. Damn it, there are eyes in front and behind. We can't dodge them. At this time, an eye was approaching from behind, and another eye was also coming from the front. Jechi was extremely nervous. Nurse Xiaolin looked terrified. Chen Jun's eyes widened. The next second, explosions occurred both in front and behind us. Nurse Xiaolin looked confused. What happened? Jechi informed them. The patient's attacks happened to destroy the eyes. That was incredibly lucky. Chen Jun laughed. See, I told you to be optimistic. Every time I think like this, bad luck turns into good luck. Hearing this, both women looked at him. I then spoke up. Chen Jun, could your emotional power be luck? The decisive battle with the hooded man finally began. I broke through the wall and ambushed the hooded man from behind, piercing straight through his shoulder with one hand. The hooded man was shocked. When did this guy appear? Shit, he dodged it. Didn't hit the heart, won't die. Suddenly, thorns grew out of the hooded man's body. The next second, the hooded man disappeared, turning into 4 thorns and fleeing in 4 directions. Turning into thorns to escape? He can do that. Shortly after, the hooded man appeared in another place. He said resentfully, Kid, although I don't know how you know my location, I don't need to fight you head on at all. As long as I can see you, I have plenty of ways to torture you slowly. At this time, thorns appeared on my body again, but I still kept running without stopping. The hooded man laughed wildly. Is running useful now? This time I won't let you get away. At this moment, several eyes of hatred were chasing behind me, and the blood-colored thorns on my body were increasing. Just then, I rushed towards a wall. Then I broke through the wall and entered, finding the hooded man again. The hooded man gritted his teeth. Damn it, I didn't pay attention just now. This kid was rushing towards the room I was staying in, but his expression darkened. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? The next second, the thorns on my body suddenly surged. They actually lifted me directly into the air. This is how the head nurse died. At this moment, a thorn also grew out of my mouth. I couldn't even speak. The hooded man said proudly, I have to say, you can really take a beating. Attacked by spikes so many times, yet you still maintain the ability to move. But this ends here. A thorny vine whip appeared in his hand. Enjoy the power of hatred properly. He constantly waved the thorny whip, lashing my body. As long as you're hit by this whip, your pain will continue to stack. The damage you take will also continue to stack. Originally, it would have been fine if you just obediently surrendered, but now I must make you suffer a bit. Don't worry, you won't die. You will feel 100 times worse than death. After a while, the hooded man finally stopped. That should be about enough. After taking so many hits, you should be obedient now. Yili was watching me from the side at this time, truly miserable. The power the opponent used is probably not even 1/10 of his total. However, wrapping all the chains around your body so that once you are damaged, you can absorb the power in the chains to automatically recover. You really have some ideas. After these rounds of beating, your body has slowly developed resistance to this level of hatred power. It's time to fight back. The next second, the thorn shattered. My whole body burst into flames of rationality, directly burning away the thorns around me. In the next instant, I jumped in front of the hooded man. My 2 fingers were covered with the power of rationality. The hooded man gritted his teeth. Then we started a big battle. He kept waving the thorny whip at me. I kept releasing the power of rationality to contend with it. I fought him all the way as he fled. The hooded man also noticed something unusual. What's going on? This kid's emotional power seems like it hasn't decreased at all. Not only that, my attacks are becoming less and less effective, as if his defense is constantly increasing. Damn it. It's dangerous to drag this out. The next second, he turned into 4 thorns again and fled in 4 directions. Kid, although I don't know what your emotional power is, I don't need to fight you head on at all. For directions, if I want to leave, you can't stop me at all. Just slowly be tortured to death by me. Just then, a ball of blue flame blasted onto one thorn. A blob of black ink landed on the second thorn. A ball of red flame exploded on the third thorn. The 4th thorn was also decomposed by a barrier that appeared. Black water, flames, and the emotional power of decomposition. The patients, they attacked at the same time, perfectly blocking my escape routes. How could it be such a coincidence? Damn it, no. There are no emotional monsters on their heads. They haven't lost control. What exactly is this? Before he could figure out, With a swipe of my fingers, the hooded man's head was thrown high into the air. The hooded man was finally killed by me, as his corpse fell to the ground. Some people cheered, all right, success. Some were afraid, we killed someone. Some cursed him, serves him right. Jechi's cheering voice came through the earpiece. You guys really took down the boss. Chang and Mo, how did you think of getting the patients to regain their sanity and come help? Because when I found Chen Jun, I happened to see the walkie-talkie equipment. That's how I thought of this plan. Besides, your contribution is the greatest. It's all thanks to you, using your power of sight to direct us that we could succeed. Jechi said modestly, hee, you flatter me, you flatter me. At this time, Yili was looking at the hooded man's head. Really lucky. This guy didn't take back his power, even until death. Otherwise, even if you all attacked together, you would have died. This is called dying without using your ultimate move. Then I looked outside. The thorns outside were already dissipating. We'll regroup and leave. The danger hasn't been lifted yet. The director must still be fighting the enemy. And maybe there are more enemies outside. Jichi asked, what should we do? I analyzed. The communication signal of the second hospital is blocked. That's why we couldn't make calls before. We have to leave the signal blocking range and then call Dr. Liu. The enemy attacking while Dr. Liu is away is definitely not a coincidence. So only when Dr. Liu returns can we truly break the deadlock. Just as we were about to leave. Bastards, bastards. I turned my head to look. I saw the hooded man's head float up. It's all because of you bastards. How dare you? Dare to treat me like this? As he spoke, the thorny power outside was disappearing. Then all of it gathered towards him. A bunch of ants. How dare you treat me like this? I won't let you off even if I die. The next second, countless thorns grew out from under his neck. Then the thorns reached out towards us frantically like tentacles. We had no choice but to run for our lives. I looked at Yili. Isn't he dead? How can he still attack? Yili replied, I don't remember. But he is indeed dead. This might be a special ability of the hatred emotional entity. He has now gathered all his power. You're not his match. Just then, we met Jechi and the other two rushing over. The three of them were first stunned by the scene behind us. Then, they became members of our escape team. Jechi asked while running, what happened? Didn't you take him out? I replied, can't explain. Anyway, run first. At this time, that angry patient couldn't control himself. He turned around and cursed. Damn it, is there no end to this? Do you really think I'm afraid of you? The angry patient erupted with terrifying flames. It was too late for others to persuade him. The next second, countless thorns tore him apart instantly. Another depressed patient was frightened. He also couldn't control his emotions. He held his head and fell into depression on the spot. Black water formed from depression flowed all around. The thorns rolled over him and crushed him to death as well. I shouted a reminder, go quickly. We can't worry about them. Just then, Nurse Shaolin, being just an ordinary person, couldn't run fast enough. Yili reminded, we don't have time to delay here. We have to get that little nurse's phone. Without a phone, our survival rate will drop significantly. And at this moment, Nurse Shaolin unluckily tripped over a stone and fell directly to the ground. And the thorny jungle behind was already approaching. Jechi exclaimed, Sister Shaolin. Yili looked over. This is bad. If she dies like this, we won't be able to get the phone. Act quickly. Hearing this, I immediately rushed towards Nurse Shaolin. Nurse Shaolin was terrified at this moment. I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die. Save me. Chang Mo, come save me quickly. Chen Jun shouted, Brother, you can't save her. Don't throw your life away for nothing. Nurse Shaolin also heard this sentence. Looking at me rushing towards her, Nurse Shaolin remembered her terrible performance these days. She remembered her cowardice. She struggled and closed her eyes. She remembered my actions and those of the others. And finally, that scene where Nurse Zhou saved her from danger. Nurse Zhou's figure seemed to overlap with mine. Nurse Shaolin gritted her teeth. Chang Mo, take the phone and go. Don't worry about me. Call the doctor back to avenge us. My decisive battle with the hatred emotional entity finally reached its conclusion. I absorbed all the rational emotional power from the chains on my body in one breath, thereby releasing the rationality monster from the heart realm. And just now, when Nurse Shaolin was about to be swallowed by the blood-colored thorns, she handed the phone to me and told me to run and not worry about her. Just as I reached out, I didn't grab the phone. Instead, I grabbed her wrist. I pulled her behind me and then used my own power of rationality to block the blood-colored thorns. Go quickly. I'll hold him back with the power of the chains. You guys escape and contact the doctor. Quick! The three of them hesitated no more upon hearing this, and fled towards the outside of the hospital. And those thorns that were also firmly blocked by me, unable to extend forward. At this time, Yili appeared behind me and said, "I didn't see that coming. A hero saving the beauty? This will get us both killed. Sorry, acted on impulse." Hearing this, Yili laughed instead. "That's good. Being a rational emotional entity, how can you control rationality without being crazy for once? Try absorbing all the power in the chains in one breath." I asked doubtfully, "Won't I lose control?" Yili smiled. "Who knows without trying?" All right, I started trying to absorb all the power in the chains in one breath. The moment I closed my eyes, the rationality monster was summoned by me from the heart realm. With this, I also had the power to fight the hatred monster. Meanwhile, two figures on the hillside were watching this scene. The woman in black said, "The thorn barrier disappeared. That is Chang Mo's emotional monster. How can he have such strong power? What exactly happened?" The woman in white replied, "I'm afraid only the person involved knows." The woman in black pleaded, "The situation has changed. Please take action now. Cult leader Zhao hasn't finished over there yet. If something goes wrong now, all our efforts will be wasted." The woman in white refused. "That won't do. Our agreement is that I am only responsible for dealing with the world level behind Chang Mo. I don't care about anything else." The woman in black got anxious. "Then at least please use your world level power to cover this area and prevent anyone from escaping." The woman in white lit a cigarette. "Doesn't that still require me to take action?" "No, I only work according to the contract, but you don't have to be so nervous. Now we're guarding the exit of Area B. You could just control them one by one as they come out. They can't escape." Meanwhile, Chun Jun and the others had escaped from the hospital. Jiechi asked, "Holy crap, it's so dark. Can we really find our way out?" Sure enough, we should have taken the main road at the front gate. Chun Jun said, "Of course we can't go out the front gate. What if there are enemies at the front gate? Only by going into the mountains do we have a chance. Anyway, this brother's emotional power can decompose everything. Just open a small hole from the back and escape. Isn't that it?" At this time, Jiechi looked at Nurse Shaolin. "How is it?" "Sister Shaolin, is there a signal?" Nurse Shaolin looked at the phone. Still no signal. Suddenly she exclaimed, "Wait, there's a reaction." A moment later, "Sorry, the number you have dialed is switched off." Nurse Shaolin immediately couldn't stop her tears again. "How can this be?" "In that case," Chang Mo, Chen Jun said optimistically, "keep calling. Things will work out when we get there." Nurse Shaolin's depression was instantly dispelled. "That's right. With Chen Jun here, luck will definitely be on our side." Meanwhile, my battle with the hatred emotion continued. The patients who had regained their sanity were fleeing with the nurses, and the battle between me and the hooded man had entered a fever pitch. The hooded man shouted, "Bastard," and wove the thorns into a huge spike. Then he aimed at me and stabbed. My eyes sharpened. I released a ball of fire to incinerate it. The hooded man exerted force again. Countless thorns pierced through the body of the rationality monster. The hatred thorns attacked insanely without stopping. I stood on the hand of the rationality monster, constantly blocking. Just then, the chains wrapped around my body broke. Yili hurriedly reminded, "No good. Even if you absorbed the power of the chains, even if you have resistance to hatred, there is still a huge gap in your strength. You still can't confront him head on." I asked, "What should I do?" Yili stated, "There is one more method to try. Try using the rational emotional power on his mind, just like you did to those patients. He actually died a long time ago. He is only supported by that hatred. Once his mind recovers its rationality, it's very likely that his entire power will collapse. Do it now. Put all your eggs in one basket. Make him regain consciousness." I rushed towards the hooded man's head.